Welcome everybody to that bar of democracy. That's right. It's Friday night, and damn, am I ready to do it right? And I believe the rest of the crew is too. We have no idea who our host is going to be tonight. We have no idea what our topic is going to be tonight. Welcome to easily the most random internet show you will ever come across. The only thing we know is we're going to have a damn good time tonight. We're talking mass and debunking lies. Let's go ahead and meet the gang, shall we? Oh, shit.
What's up?
What's up, everyone?
Hey, everybody.
How you doing?
Everybody, happy Friday! Happy Memorial Weekend!
Happy Memorial Day.
Exactly.
Oh, gross. Sorry, guys. Let me.
So, how's everybody's Memorial Weekend been? I know I know so far that y'all are kicking it off. Ladies' night last night was superb, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for Miss, our lovely my librarian she's awesome, taking care of the behind the scenes and running the stuff. So.
Oh yeah, she's a total champion.
We love her.
Oh, thanks for putting up with me. Like, I don't always know what I'm doing. So
No.
I don't think any of us do, actually. We're just here.
Of course, Derek's in the background sometimes, if we need any kind of technical support or help, whatever, so, everybody's real nice and helps and stuff. So.
Fantastic, man.
If it wasn't for my job, I wouldn't know like half of what I know, just trying, like being tech support for students and or unofficial tech support.
Picking up from last week, how are you doing, Skip? You didn't get flooded? Everything's cool, right?
Well, my town went nanners. I think that's the scientific term for it, if I'm not mistaken. There was record flooding to where the roofs of cars were barely visible. People lost their entire livelihood. Luckily, I'm up on a hill and I'm not down by the river. So I was fortunate when it came to that. But however, as everybody could see from our last episode, there was a bit of chaos and confusion. But however,
I hope everybody's okay. I hope there wasn't.
There was only one loss of life, and oh god, no, hold on, because there was only one loss of life, and it was because somebody was trying to cross the road and they got hit by an ambulance.
Oh, wow.
That was on its way speeding to help somebody. Yeah. So, that's all I have as far as that goes. However, some other good news from here in Germany. The AfD, which is pretty much the Nazis, only modern, have also not only been found to be colluding with Russia, but also the EU is like, you are too far right to be accepted into the EU. Like, y'all, no, we're not doing this. It's sort of like if we genuinely could put some if there was like, you know how a governor works on a car, or any sort of vehicle, it only can go so fast, like on a riding lawnmower and whatnot. We need a governor for right wingers. It's like it's like you only get to this far, and then like it's like you're no longer allowed to politic because at this point you're just demagoguing.
There's no self-regulation.
Oh no, there's no self-regulation, and there's no future proofing, as we have seen.
Well, I mean, the way to do that would be just to reinstate the fairness doctrine and say, hey, you can't lie anymore.
Yeah,
And
totally.
that probably would take care of itself. And also do something about Congress people who lie.
Yeah.
Alternate facts.
Well, they
Or
depend
actually,
on
I
the
mean-
speech and debate clause too much.
Here's the thing. You wouldn't even have to do that if you just made it so that the stations couldn't air it. Like, no one would see it. It wouldn't get any press or airtime if it was a lie. Otherwise, the station would be fined. That would work. Yeah.
Well, we all know why the fairness doctrine went away with Rupert Murdoch, Roy Cohn, and Ronald Reagan all in the same office, probably planting the initial seeds for Project 2025.
And Lee Atwater.
I mean,
100%.
And let's go ahead and reach into the chopper hopper and find out who our host is or hostess is for tonight, shall we? Oh shit, it's Disco D.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
mass. You're doing
Little
double D,
dance.
girl. You work.
A little dance.
You worked 2 nights
do a
in a
little
row.
dance. Make a little love.
do a little dance.
Get down tonight.
Get down tonight. Okay.
All right. Well, we're already kicking it off
Finish
right.
it out. You know, you gotta finish.
Prost.
Yeah.
Mm.
What's on your
So
mind, D?
let's see what she's got for us
What
today.
is it?
Yeah. I don't know. I had a hard time trying to even wrap my head around what I wanted to. My brain was all like, you know, just. So.
And then you was like, "Hey, what's pissing me off?"
Yeah, you know.
And
then I was like, okay.
and from what I see, this is a pretty good way to start off the night. What's pissing you off, D?
Basically, Trump and fascism. I mean, hello. I mean, that's. I mean, come on, like it's right there. I mean, it's just so out there. Do people not hear him speaking? I don't understand.
It's selective amnesia.
They
But
hear
it's
him
right-
speaking,
They
But
like
it's right
it.
there.
They like it.
and all they hear is
He's
"Sorry-be-doo."
literally pretty much, you know, just following Hitler's playbook and mentioning, you know, Hitler shit and unified Reich and all this bullshit, you know.
Yeah, they've
That's
gotten to
having
the
a hard
point.
time running from that unified Reich. He can't run from that one. That's really hard to run from.
They've gotten to the point where they all they can do is just double down to where all the people on the internet who supported them in like an ironic, like, oh, we're trolling the libs with Nazi stuff, are getting to the point where they're just like, no, we're Nazis. Like that's us. We are white Christian nationalist Nazis. That's, hey, how's it going? Like that's them.
I like the spin on it. They went, well, it was one of the employees, somebody that had access and posted it.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. So just like we've already said, Donald Trump may not be a Nazi. He's a Nazi. He hires Nazis.
He said the only people that have access to his True Social are him and
Dan Scavino.
Scavino.
That's Volk.
If it's only them two, there's your choices.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He hires all the best Volk.
I mean,
I did
Well
not
said.
see that coming.
he is using Adolf Hitler's Nazi regime language.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just that's what it is. And if, quoting this from this article, like if you understand fascism, you have a 5-alarm bell going off in your head.
Yep.
And I think, yeah,
Mhm.
that sums it up. If you know about fascism, you should be scared right now.
if you have not learned what the 14 tenets of fascism are, you're missing out, because these are, I suppose, the litmus test that we use to determine if a party or if a politician is, by all accounts, fascist.
Yeah. I literally have that tab open in my browser all the time. Umberto Eco's Era of Fascism. Yeah.
Why don't you give us a quick rundown, just real quick? I know it's 14, but I know that you can do it in an expedient manner. Godfrey?
Do it.
Okay. Just a simple word for a few words for each one. Okay. 1, the cult of tradition. 2, the rejection of modernism. 3, the cult of action for action's sake. 4, disagreement is treason. 5, fear of difference. 6, appeal to a frustrated middle class. 7, obsession with plot or conspiracy theories. 8, fascist societies rhetorically cast their enemies as at the same time too strong and too weak. 9, pacifism is trafficking with the enemy. 10, contempt for the weak. 11, everybody is educated to become a hero, which leads to a cult of death. 12, machismo. I mean, that one doesn't need much more. 13, selective populism. And 14, newspeak.
I noticed that, well, I mean, there's so many different, my mind was just, making the parallels, to all the various fascist dictators from the past. But the one thing that we all noticed seemed to nod on was when it's portrayed that Joe Biden is Mr. Magoo, but he's also Don Corleone at the same time, because he has to be portrayed as weak yet strong, which is an absolute tenet of fascism.
Same thing with the Antifa. Oh, they're so dangerous. They're a threat to democracy or our republic or whatever they say. But they're also basement-dwelling, incels. It's like, which is it, man?
The soy boys with man buns. All of us.
Soy boys with man buns.
Do you see my man bun?
I think Theron takes offense to that.
I don't think it's I love my man bun.
I like your top notch.
No, that's the thing. Is I was waiting for Theron to go ahead and start giving some shit back.
Theron's rocking the top notch.
Yeah, see, that's the thing, is they see people like Theron, and they, for some reason, seem to see this weakness, whereas the way that he is for his family, the way he is an advocate for the rights of his daughters and his wives, like, that is the strongest fucking shit that you can do, dude. So fuck them with like
That's a
up
real
their
man.
stupid mouth.
Yep, he's like the Minnesota samurai.
It reminds me of the People versus Larry Flint. It was the samurai, Your Honor.
You know what? Theron looks nice, but I bet you he could kick someone's ass.
Oh, I wouldn't get on his bad
You
side.
wouldn't even know it. You'd be like, what the fuck? Because, be like a little ninja.
But like you was, but like literally, like you was saying, I mean, so many of these tenants, I mean, good God, as you're naming them off, it's almost like you need like a matching game, like guess who, like pair, like you have Trump right here, and is like, is this one from Mussolini? Is this one from Hitler? Is this one from Putin? It's like it's like guess who, but really fashy.
It reminds me of those like worksheets that when you were in school, right, where you would match the word to the picture. You have to draw the line, and then it'll be all crisscross. Yeah. I think we should make one of those. We'll post it on the Discord, and then y'all can download it and do it.
Yeah. We can make us some word puzzles so we can keep our minds sharp. My Mimi always did find the word or whatever.
14, 10, yeah.
She almost 101, and I'm telling you, she was always, and I think that's one of the things that kept her mind so sharp, is because she would do that stuff like to keep her brain thinking, and you know, she loved to do that.
My grandpa too. Yeah.
Yeah. So we might need to make our own that it says like, fine, fuck you, Trump, and like, not suck ass, and just for fun.
Who's surprised? Who's surprised that he took it down? I kind of am. I'm surprised he took it down.
Well, he left it there for 18 hours, long enough to let it cook, and then for everybody on 4chan to download it so that they can, I guess, like look at it while they jerk off to the national anthem. I don't know what it is those people do.
What did they take down?
The post, the Third Reich post.
The Unified Reich post.
Unified Reich.
The Nazi fascism post.
They knew what they were doing.
Exactly.
And it was on there more than once.
The best part is that, and I'm actually seeing here from D, that we can go ahead and segue into this. The best part is that, it was blamed on a staffer. And as we said, that it's only Trump and Dan Scavino that have the ability to actually, I don't know, do anything to do with Truth Social.
Those are the only two guys that can hit send.
Yeah, exactly. Well, apparently the thing to do when you do anything fucked up is to just like either like blame it on your wife or you blame it on your your assistant. Just like as we can see right here, Alito's upside down flag was blamed on his wife as well. They're such alphas. I swear, they're such alphas.
At least it wasn't an unknown staffer that did it.
Indeed, unknown.
Well, could have been he's not friends with Clarence Thomas's wife. You can't tell me they're not friends.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much corruption, so much.
Yeah, Jenny Thomas's connection to Mark Meadows should instantly make sure that Clarence Thomas has nothing to do with any cases to do with January 6th. Now with Alito flagging not only the upside down American flag, but also the appeal to heaven flag, he needs to completely, I don't even know. At this point, like Harlan Crow has got us we're captive. There's no other word for it. We're a captive nation.
Yeah, Leonard Leo too.
Leonard Leo.
Yeah. No, like I saw in the Discord like earlier, somebody had posted a link about how I think Durbin and whatever other senator was going to meet with John Roberts.
Yeah.
Essentially give him an ultimatum, and I hope it's an ultimatum that they give him.
I think Sheldon Whitehouse is going to be part of that group.
Well, Thomas blew it off last time. Whitehouse tried to summon him.
They don't get to sit up there and not have rules and ethics.
They govern themselves. Yes, they govern themselves.
We talked about this before. Congress is supposed to be able to check that branch. They have the authority to check them.
Yeah, I mean, supposed to.
They're co-equal branches. Co-equal means not one is not better than the other. So Congress and the executive can check that's why the president can technically appoint more Supreme Court justices. It doesn't say how many there has to be, just that it has to be an odd number.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing though, like the Supreme Court, all they do is interpret the procedure law. Like Congress writes the law. So if the Supreme Court does something that Congress doesn't like, Congress, all they have to do is repeal the law and replace it with a different one that makes it more explicit and overrides the Supreme Court. They can do that. They can do it anytime they want with any issue. They just don't.
They can also be a check and punish, or not punish, but impeach them for behavior, which is not happening.
I don't think I don't think anybody should get a life term of anything.
No.
Well, I understand why there was a life term.
They're going to do it. 20 years.
But
expand the court.
Alex,
6-year terms.
Explain that. What were you going to say about you understand why there was a life term?
It's a lifetime appointment, so they never have to worry about re-election.
Yeah.
It was designed that way so that the justices could rule in however they wanted, how they truly felt about whatever was brought before them. So if you have a lifetime appointment, you know, you don't have to ever run for re-election. You don't have to worry about, as
campaigning.
let me rephrase this. Before the John, what's his last name? Jesus.
Roberts.
Supreme Court. Roberts. Thank you. I'm talking pre the John Roberts court. It was supposed to be no Supreme Court justice really ever lasted as long as they, like, first of all, the lifetime of Supreme Court justice at the time wasn't nearly usually 80, 90 years. No. So that was first off. Second off, the idea wasn't that they would spend the rest of their lives on the court. That's more of a recent thing. Like Sandra Day O'Connor, she recently just died. She could have been on the Supreme Court the whole time.
Yeah, she could have pulled an RBG
after like 20 something years. So, like, you see what I'm saying? So anyway, they don't have, if it's a lifetime appointment, they don't have to ever worry about the politics, or so they thought. So there's also a rule that people, so they thought at the time lifetime was best because no one ever thought that the branches of government would conspire together. They planned for only one branch being an asshole. They never planned on two. And that's where like Republicans like find the cracks and they start digging in those cracks, because if you collaborate with another branch, well then,
well, I mean, that's one of the reasons, in my opinion, why Garland wasn't put onto the Supreme Court. Not only did Lindsey Graham say that we could use his words against him if he ever broke the same, in which they did with Amy Coney Barrett, we tried to do it, and he said, fuck you, I don't care, because they're shameless. But also, they knew that if Merrick Garland was on there, that's a lifetime of fucking appointment. You know what I mean? Like, that's a liberal lifetime appointment. We don't give a good goddamn about like decorum. They just only use decorum in the same way that they use the Bible and the Constitution. They just use it as a sword and a shield when they want to. And I mean, Merrick Garland should have been on the Supreme Court. He should not be Attorney General.
Absolutely.
We need to, I think, and this is like, I never want a constitutional convention called while the red states are in the majority, like ever, because then they'll use it to like repeal like the Bill of Rights and God knows. So, but if I would love for them to change, because the founding fathers never meant for us to interpret it the way they were in 17 whatever. Like they had enough foresight to know that times would change, people would change, ideas would change, and they thought, Jefferson even said that every 25 years the Constitution should be completely rewritten. Don't tell the Republicans that.
Yeah, there's a reason it says well-regulated militia.
Yep.
Yeah, right. So what I think, I think that to not worry about the corruption of a Supreme Court justice, A, you need to pay them more. B, but while they're in public service, like they'll always be open to corruption, because that's the nature of people are corruptible by money, by like a billionaire can corrupt you easily. And like when you work in public service, I think they make like something like $235,000 a year, which to me, I think that's a good salary. But if you could be making millions in the private sector, you want to have your cake and eat it too. You want to make private sector money being in a public office. And I think what Congress needs to do is give some bite to they can't police themselves. Like, I don't think anybody honestly can, when I mean anybody, like corporate bodies, that's what I mean. I don't think anybody can actually police themselves, because when it comes down to it, people are corruptible. And so you need to have a way bigger oversight over the Supreme Court. And there's nothing in the Constitution that says there can't be oversight over the Supreme Court. And if like you were really interpreting it it's almost like there should be oversight if they're co-equal branches.
So
Just like there's oversight over the executive branch.
my suggestion on the instead of a lifetime appointment, so that they don't have to worry about politics, is a single 12-year term. That's it. You can only ever do one.
But it can only be
And
one.
then you're done.
One term.
Yep,
12 to 20
it.
years, I think, would be a good.
No
And
reelection.
And then you can go make your
no
private
nothing.
sector money, and nobody
Retirement age, too.
People want. Yeah, people want this job. People want to be a Supreme Court justice because they like the Supreme Court is legislating at the moment. Like I know technically it's not like, but it really is, because people like there'll be somebody in Mississippi who writes a law so that it can be challenged, so it can work its way to the Supreme Court on purpose, and the Supreme Court can say, nope, that's fine, next. And it's not supposed to be like that. Like, and people are like, the Supreme Court is even using itself to like corrupt itself. You know, like
I mean, they don't have a code of ethics. They don't.
There's no code of ethics.
Sheldon Whitehouse might have written
Lincoln
one, but that doesn't mean they're going to follow it.
Right.
And I think what I also think is that the three liberals, who I think it's funny that are all women, the three liberals, I think they need to break out a can of whoop ass. Like, if Alito and Clarence Thomas can be doing all this bullshit, open your mouth. We're not in normal times anymore.
Right.
So, like, if they're trying to hold on to some semblance of precedent and institutionalism,
Decorum.
it's gone. Decorum, that's it.
Can I please go ahead and caveat off of that and point out that they did not use the opportunity to vacate Mike Johnson when he was in fucking New York because simply of decorum. And I'm going to point out that Hakeem Jeffries let a part of our, he could have fucking done that. They could have done that. They could have said fuck decorum, because the Republicans would do it in one motherfucking second, and you know it, and you know it. And I understand that he, really is all about decorum, but do not sacrifice our democracy for decorum for people who would not do the very same.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There probably was something backdoor about it, though. Hakeem Jeffries isn't stupid.
But enough about Lindsey Graham.
There had to have been a reason why Hakeem Jeffries was like, no, we're not doing. Like, maybe publicly that's the reason, but privately there's another reason, because Hakeem Jeffries could give two fucks about Mike Johnson and his Magic Johnson. So
They might not have had.
I know there's a time.
But to caveat what you were saying off of that is with the decorum thing is as you said, we are not in normal times. If the liberal justices are keeping mum just strictly out of decorum, do not do that to us. Do not risk our democracy for decorum. Do not.
Exactly.
Because I think
Sure.
I'm sorry.
They're not hiding who they are. They're not hiding who they are.
No.
So,
You're trying to fight honorably with people who have no honor and have no shame.
Yeah.
care. They've been bought and paid
I
for.
think
They don't
Alito
care.
said it all with a flag upside down and the
And the appeal to have a
100%.
flag.
Yeah,
Going
he
back to
said
what
everything
Dean-
he needed to.
Going back to what Dee brought up about Alito, I can make a case. I'm not a lawyer, but I can make a case for 5 of the current Supreme Court justices should be recused from all J6. 3 were appointed by Trump, so those 3 need to be gone. Thomas has his wife. She participated in J6. And now Alito
That's right.
is basically showing that he's in line with J6. So that's 5 justices out of 9.
Yeah.
That
And I also
And,
point out that, anyway,
Go
those
ahead.
are the same justices that lied about overturning Roe. Those 5.
Yes.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
and they should be brought up for
You know-
perjury on all those cases.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I mean, there's video evidence of them saying that they weren't going to overturn Roe, and they did it. All of them.
Mhm.
And with recusal, there doesn't actually have to be a bias there. It has to be the mere appearance of bias.
The appearance of.
So
Yep.
so if
Why-
you don't have to, if there is a public perception that there's like it used to be like that where a justice would recuse themselves just on the mere the appearance that it could be. I mean, even Jeff Sessions, when he was Attorney General, I mean, he did have a true bias, but like, he recused himself of that. So like, I don't know where these justices get off, like the audacity and nerve that they have.
They're very emboldened, and they think they're running this shit.
They think they're
And Clarence
untouchable.
Thomas, like Clarence Thomas is unreal because the system that got him there is the same system he wants to tear down for everybody else.
Exactly.
Yes, it is.
I do not understand that.
I don't. I've seen a lot of biographies of of him, and I don't understand how he got to be the way he is. I think he started drinking his own Kool-Aid is really what happened.
Money.
He used the Republican. He used the Republican ticket to like get where he wanted because the line was shorter than being with the Democrats. Really, he just wanted power. And then once he got power,
he's just like Lauren Boebert when it comes to ladder pulling.
Yeah, and he's married to a woman that was already in a cult once before.
I can explain his attitude in 5 words. I got mine. Fuck you.
Yep. 100%.
Well, I want somebody to do a spreadsheet on how many dollars Thomas has taken over the years, because when they said one of those vacations was $500,000 with Harlan Crow, like how many dollars is it over the last 35 years that he's been a justice that he's taken benefits and not claimed them? The only time he's tried to claim it at all is when he's been brought out by mainstream media. So how many millions has he been compromised? It's a lot of money.
I'm sure ProPublica has that because they broke the story that he was.
They did a good job with that.
So I bet they have I bet they have a whole slew of, because they really painstakingly went through like public records that were like, I'm not worthy of their research skills, because that's some serious detective work and painstakingly difficult. Good God. No, they combed through public records and like connected things like, I think
the last controversy was Scalia took like a couple like hunting trips to Texas, right? That's the last I heard. That goes back years and years of someone getting a benefit. Yeah,
when he died, he was on the ranch of a billionaire, an oil billionaire, with cases before the Supreme Court.
And he died. That's crazy. But that's the last we heard of like justices kind of being bought off or taking money or extra benefits. We're talking with Thomas, it's at least millions of dollars.
Yeah. And the mighty librarian brought up that Clarence Thomas wants to tear down the system that got him where he's at. That man benefited from affirmative action. That man got where he is, definitely because of his age, because of those programs.
Yep.
Diversity and inclusion and stuff too, right?
Exactly.
I mean, if it wasn't for government programs, Lauren Boebert and her husband would still be showing dicks behind bowling alleys.
Yeah.
100%. They still may be.
They still may be.
Some people are saying.
Many people are saying.
I want to know what John Roberts knows. Like, I want to know what, if anything, if he confronted them about this. And if not, then why not? I want to know, I want to know everything.
Yeah. But
I would love to be a fly on the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody needs to hold them in,
There was a ProPublica report. There was a ProPublica report about Justice Thomas and all the gifts he received from Harlan Crow, including all the trips and everything like that. And in addition to a $19,000 Bible, most of those trips ran about $5,000 to $750,000. and there's at least 38 trips.
Wow.
38? I didn't know it was that many.
How is that legal?
Hold on a second.
Well, if you add that up,
They're just friends.
Hold on
They're
a
just
second.
friends.
A $19,000
Your
Bible.
friend, you don't take me fucking trips.
A $19,000 Bible to a Supreme Court justice who has permanent seat to be able to make laws. A $19,000 Bible to a Supreme Court justice who is also a Christian nationalist. A $19,000 Bible from the man who has Hitler's napkins. What the fuck?
Yeah, what the fuck?
And I'd buy it that he was a collector of World War II memorabilia if he didn't have the dictator garden.
Yeah,
it's one thing that collect things, for historical reasons. It's the whole other to have a place where you'd want something. It looks like it's like a reflection garden.
Yeah.
All the dictators of the world since I don't know since what, but
Is it just me, or does the fash not only really, really like the fash when they are into the fash, but then when you point out that they're into the fash, they deny that they're into the fash? Like, they absolutely love them some fash, but then when you're like, yo, what's going on with this? They're like, oh, you're taking it out of context.
It's just
there's no other context to have a dictator garden. I'm sorry. The rest of their followers must be stupid, but I'm not. You have a dictator garden with statues of dictators because you like dictators. That's the only reason you have that.
Yeah, that's weird.
I don't need. I always want to remember. Yeah, I always want to remember the atrocities so they don't happen again. But you don't see me posting a statue of Hitler in my backyard so I can remember no, come on, man, write a book. You don't have a dictator in your backyard.
They just think that because they're rich that they can gaslight you.
It's literal. I mean, it's literally.
It reminds me of Solzhenitsyn when he said, "They're lying. We know that they're lying. They know that we know that they're lying, but they're still lying."
Yeah,
that's kind of where we're at right now.
Yeah.
Well, I had a
big lie right now. Everyone, on the GOP side is still talking about the big lie, and they won't say that they're going to certify the next election. But I've got MAGA buddies that are texting me all the time, "Oh, the big lie, the big lie." I'm like, dude, you look like a clown. You're a clown. It's not even real. And it's propaganda, but it's been allowed to Trump has been allowed to keep it alive because he won't stop talking about it.
That's it. He can't. Something broke in him when he lost, and when he had to physically leave the White House. It was the first time, aside from him sitting in court, is the first time he did something he didn't want to do. He was ready to burn down the entire peaceful transfer of power in front of the entire world, so he didn't have to leave the White House.
That's the documents with him.
Yes,
right,
he was.
Exactly, and with the documents, that's obviously for
70,
leverage. But Eileen Cannon killed that case.
He was in charge of loading this shit up.
Yeah, speaking of fucked up judges, Eileen Cannon killing that documents case.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That is so unreal. That is just mind blowing. Because I'll post this in the Discord. Legal Eagle did I don't know if you know that YouTube channel. He breaks down legal issues that into such easy to understand bite-sized components. So anyway, I had someone break down the documents case. Not that I needed breaking down the documents part. It was what she was doing. What all her orders, it got really crazy to understand. And so she broke it down, and basically Eileen Cannon, any little thing you have to motion for, she takes she wants a full briefing and oral arguments on. So things that most judges would just rule on immediately, she wants full briefing, oral arguments on.
I think it's probably because she has no experience and needs taught. Like, it's like on the job experience.
I think it's intentional.
Oh, I think
she, on purpose.
Yeah, it's definitely intentional because she has been pretty okay on other cases, but and the Trump campaign calls them her best supporter or what. They have a nickname for her, but it's basically because she's totally hooking them up. So
she hasn't received any threats from MAGA. Have you noticed that?
True. I suspect that she has somebody like working with her, like advising her on what to do.
Absolutely.
On how to delay it.
I mean, sad that they, can't have, another judge, a different judge, because she's so biased.
She's issuing no writing orders. They're like verbal orders.
They will eventually just remove her. It's just going to take some time. I
completely agree with Allison.
I think there's a method to the madness. I think they know what she's trying to do, and I think the DOJ or Jack Smith or something, they're looking into this the same way like I believe that they're looking into a next January 6th or whatever they're trying to do. Is they're like,
I believe that too.
We're gonna let. I think they're gonna let them talk about it on the internet right now, and they're watching it all.
Let it cook
and let it cook, and just go ahead. And they're connecting the dots, and even though we don't see it, and they won't believe it at all, which is fine. They don't have to. There's dots to be connected there. We see it.
I was kind of thinking the same thing too, because Jack Smith's not an idiot. He's a very, very good lawyer and a very, very smart man. He wouldn't just take this lying down. So he's letting something kind of happen. It seems like he's taking, that's just what it seems like to me, based on what I know of his biography and.
Judicial immunity does not cover obstruction.
No, it does not.
Judges can be charged with obstruction if he can prove it, and I would say by now he can prove it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, she's gone to it's gone back to appeals how many times, and she's been rebuked by appeals how many times now?
Oh, the 11th Circuit has scathing letters, or not letters, opinions to her on. Like, I would love to know what the legal community thinks of her as a whole. Like, is she a laughingstock, or what's her deal? Like, I mean, because the reason why I ask is because maybe it's just because I have shame. Like, I can't imagine throwing my career away.
That's funny.
People calling me a Trump sycophant the rest of my life. On basically she's gambling that Trump will be. She's gambling her reputation, the entire legal community and judicial community on what type of person she is. She's making a gamble. You could not get me to gamble that for really anything. Like, I would never want people to think of me like that.
She's a Colombian. She's not even an American. She's naturalized, Judge Cannon. She's from Colombia.
Robert Bork made the same gamble, and it did not pay off.
Yeah. I'm looking at her Wikipedia now.
Does anyone know how many judges are in that the Southern District of Florida? Because
no clue.
Here's the deal.
Yeah, they were.
Well, there's East,
they were
West,
talking about it. Yeah.
And Central. So, and there's usually 5 to 10, depending on how many people. So every state has 3 districts of judges.
Okay, and then so you're saying 5 to 10 per district. So let's just say in the Southern District of Florida, there could be 5 judges or more. It's probably a pretty big district, and so they probably have 10. How did she get drawn randomly for this case when we knew previously, because of the Mar-a-Lago raid, when she was involved with that? I can't remember exactly how she was involved with that.
Oh, yeah, because
obstructing then.
Yeah,
And then how did she get drawn for this? Was it truly random? That's what I want to know.
Well, I looked into this because I had the same question. Basically, she's the original judge that got brought up to this, not for the warrant, but when the case first starts going to court with just the documents issue, right? So she's the judge that comes up. Whether or not that was intentional or not, who knows? But then she gives some of it to another judge because she has no experience with FISA warrants and like all that kind of shit. So then to deal with the documents, that she appoints that power of attorney in New York. And so, all right, so that, we all know what happens there. Seventh Circuit, slaps her on the hand, and the case goes back to her because she's the original judge on the case. So just like that documents part was just one issue that they were dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
She was still always the main judge on it, even though some time had passed and it appeared like there were two cases, but it's actually still pretty much the same case. So that's why she's back on as the judge. She was never not the judge on it.
She asserted authority where she had no business asserting authority over the search warrant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And was knocked back by the circuit court. It was just like, why are you even talking? This hasn't even made it to court yet. You have nothing to do with this. Why are you even opening your mouth? Exactly. Ma'am, this is a Wendy's.
Yeah.
And then didn't she assign a special master as well? Like when it wasn't even needed?
Mm-hmm.
So
which showed not shit nor dick.
It was a delay tactic.
Yeah, it was purely delay tactics. And anytime the judge would order something, she would step in and, oh, no, you're going to do this. Like, she wouldn't let him actually be the power of attorney, or I think that's what they call it. And like, she thought probably it would take a lot longer to get it all started, but that judge started getting to work really quick.
Mm-hmm.
But because the documents were so classified, they couldn't just have anybody do it. It had to be people who had the clearance to
security
look at the
clearances.
documents.
That just shows you how fucked up what he took was. They can't even look through it.
It was compartmented. He took some shit.
Skiff
he
material,
took some
man.
aliens.
Yeah.
He took aliens or nukes or
nuclear aliens.
Some serious shit.
Skip can tell you about clearances and what you need for clearances.
I have the map. They've already talked about that.
Top secret.
Yeah, I had top secret.
It's a crazy background check that you go through to get it.
I think he took all the maps to the Middle East and everywhere over there, and going, look, this is what we know.
He took the shit that was on him.
He took human intel. He took the names of spies, and he had them all killed because of it.
Yeah.
Do you remember when Putin was putting bounties?
Human intelligence.
Yeah, remember when Putin was putting bounties on not veterans, but soldiers' heads? Well, where do you think they got that information from?
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and put 2 and 2 together, shall we?
Yeah, and then vote for this guy. How square that out, man. Square it for me.
Trump, gets off on these dictators and has to jack off to them every time he has a fucking Trump rally.
I'm telling you, did MAGA has this problem where they can't count when it comes to crowd sizes, and I don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's probably why Trump thinks it's bigger than it actually is. I don't know. According to Stormy, that's not the case.
Yeah. Well, something else about all the bullshit he says. He said recently that he could get an American journalist released. Right? He said, he will be released after I win the election. Before I even take office, I can get him released because Putin will do that for me. It's so why aren't you doing it now?
Or
You're
Yeah,
basically
prove your
holding
power.
that guy hostage.
thanks
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
saying that
Nobody
you
else
and Putin
does
are
that.
buddies. Like, thanks for coming out
Yeah.
and saying that. We really appreciate that. That was a really,
Why
really
would
nice.
What is wrong with you?
He
like
said,
repeatedly.
Whoa.
Trump said,
Could
I,
have gotten him released. Actually, he could have gotten hostages released while he was in office, but didn't. One of the guys that came back right when Biden got elected was I think that guy in Russia who got arrested on bullshit that he was drunk charges. Like he said, yeah, Trump could have gotten us out, but
Mm-hmm.
he did nothing.
What was that you were saying, D?
no, I was just saying it was just funny because I saw today, I guess he said in that rally that how he used to be really hot, maybe even, hotter than he is now. I was just like,
What?
yeah, he said this at a rally.
That's just
Oh, in the Bronx, yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah,
sir, you've never been hot in your whole effing life.
the only thing hot is the pudding in his diaper.
I mean, I'm like, you're gross. But yeah, I'm like, yeah, you're so hot.
his Bronx rally. Like, first of all, it looks bigger because there are probably the most people that's gone to a rally in a long time because there's 8 million people in New York City. So yeah, you're likely to get a bigger crowd. But the Bronx is also closer to the one part of New York that's a diehard, like that's within the New York City area, that is a diehard Trump pocket. And but when you look at it, like there's probably a couple thousand people in that photo.
No.
Out of 8 million people, you could only get a couple thousand.
Yeah.
Like
They were saying it was like 3,500. That was
Have you
it.
seen the aerial photo of it? So the park could hold 3,500. The aerial photo shows it's not even like a third full. Not even. So
Oh, man.
I would be
Yeah.
surprised if there was even 1,000 people there.
There are people out there that are like,
I'm bad at judging those kinds of things, but my point was you're in a city with 8 million people total, and you couldn't get more than 1,000. Like that's pretty sad.
You said you were bad at judging that kind of thing. I didn't know you were Sean
like,
Spicer.
Crowd sizes. Oh no, not that, not quite that creatively bad, but like clearly Barack Obama's inauguration had way more people at it than Trump. Like he's so thin-skinned that he can't even acknowledge that the first black president would have a larger inauguration size than he. Like
I just
that,
posted
really
the
hurts
aerial.
his feelings.
Speaking
Yeah.
of
Posted
thin,
the aerial photo of it in our chat. Tell me if that looks like 3,500 people to you.
That's not 3,500 people.
it just looks like Jonestown.
350 people.
Like it looks like Jonestown. That amount of people, and that's about it.
It does.
Yeah, it really
they,
does.
they were like saying that they
You
weren't
can get that
letting,
many people on a photo accidentally in New York. I mean,
Wait.
Yeah.
We should be able to.
Probably.
We should be able to feed this picture into an AI algorithm, and it can count
And
the number.
count
count it
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Oh wow, that's
right
so
out.
That's terrifying.
crazy.
technology
Right.
is amazing.
That's under 500 people, man. Maybe 8, maybe 600.
Like I said, I'd be
Oh, I'm so
surprised if there was
terrible
1,000.
and they interviewed a lady, and the lady was like, "You should see. There's people here from the South, from Texas and Tennessee, and
This is not the Bronx.
So,
I was thinking that too. Like, I wonder if there's like groupie, like how the Grateful Dead would always have the people that went to show. Like,
Yep.
I wonder
Exactly
if
what
they,
it
like he
is.
just has his. Like, they're probably not even New Yorkers.
I just
No, they're
know
the same people if you look at the crowd.
you mentioned
Yeah,
thin skin, and I was just going to ask if anyone saw Moskowitz's clapback as far as pointing out just how thin-skinned they all are and what he did with Comer. We can get back to talking about that Trump rally at the Bronx, but did y'all see his fucking video he made where he's holding the stereo up like say
Yeah, that was
anything?
No, I saw his tweet.
epic.
I didn't see it, but that sounds funny.
Oh, it's epic.
I saw the tweet where he's just like, "I'm gonna miss my good friend James over the the congressional hiatus."
What I loved is
uses? Oh my god.
Yeah, he used like Lionel Richie, but the best part was when he said that I can see your smile, and it showed James Comer's smile. I was just like,
perfect.
They're so good.
It was
Getting
very,
better. They're
very
punching
good.
back. They're punching back.
Mhm.
It was hot.
it's so good.
Man.
Back to the Trump rallies. Is these people are coming from out of state. It's like a traveling circus, and then as soon as the rally is done,
Back to the pile. Back to the pile.
Mhm. Mhm.
Oh god.
They just follow dear leader around. They follow him around, and they follow him around, and they go.
Who we got in the chat out there, Tony?
all right, we got Zuni out there. We got Kim. We got Jesse James. Ratchet popped in for a little bit. Vixen's been hanging around. Mama 1645 has been out there. B Bridges has been out there. They are chatting up, and they all agree Cannon interfered with a search warrant. Trump's got more American killed than any other president. And the Supreme Court does need to be reformed. Thank you, Derek, for that comment. Yeah.
We'll
had
get some
out there too.
What's up, Tomcat? How's it going, buddy? I want to get
trucker.
Yeah, we'll have to get him in here and get some perspectives on some things sometime. So we'll get some. We're gonna ask. We'll get your questions actually in just a bit. But looks like we have one more. Looks like one more piece from Disco D.
Yeah, before we get to that, hi to Farmly. She just popped in too.
Oh, hey, how's it going?
Bro,
Yeah,
B
seriously.
Bridges, B Bridges.
Fam, it's so good to see everybody, for reals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is a kind of a fun one. I'm excited. I don't know why I'm excited about it, but it was fun.
Why?
All right.
Because today, what happened, D?
Today, in 1930, when Bonnie and Clyde were shot in their car.
Really?
Oh, yikes.
1934, notorious criminals Bonnie Parker and Clyde Barrow. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
And have you ever actually seen how the setup for that worked? Like how they had the agents in the bushes and everybody ready to spring the trap?
Yeah.
Yeah. Slaughter.
And then, well, I mean,
they shot the hell out of that car, didn't they?
yeah, it looked like Swiss cheese.
But anyway, I just thought, I was like, interesting.
Well, it's really interesting if you think about Clyde just in general. I mean, he went from like juvie prison to regular prison, and then got busted out of that prison. And then, I mean, don't get me wrong, the whole Bonnie and Clyde thing, it's very romanticized, but it was a trauma bonding due to poverty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
100%.
yeah, they're pretty brutal.
And being on the run from the law, that took a toll on them.
Yeah.
What they don't tell you is by the time that they were shot up, she couldn't even walk. Bonnie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, they'd taken, some stray bullets from some of the previous, chases that they'd done. Yeah. And I think one of the bank jobs, I've studied enough about Bonnie and Clyde, but I haven't studied enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's been, I'm not sure exactly how many, I just know they were on the run a lot, and I think they were.
And here's the thing, you got to think about when they were on the run, it was like in like Model Ts and Model As, like there's no air conditioning. These were not comfortable. It was this shit the whole fucking time.
Also during the
high speed chase was 5 miles an hour.
I mean, it's also during Depression too. That was 1934, so that's and
The most charitable thing that they do is give some money to people that would put them up, but they're, only just because they needed somewhere to sleep. It's not like they did it out of the goodness of their, like.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that. It's just that, they were like, fuck, what?
And there's a chance it might have been, there's a chance it might have been those people's money from their local bank.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Here, thanks for putting this up.
I go to Vegas quite regularly from LA, and the hotel at State Line or Prim, Nevada. I always had the Bonnie and Clyde card there. 200 holes in it, and everything. Yeah. Ooh, okay.
Yeah,
it's like that looks like it hurt. Okay.
They used to put people on display, like in windows after they died, and you could come look at them and shit.
So you know what else happened in 1934?
What?
The NFA.
It was hard for me to pick.
Oh. The National Firearms Act was passed in 34, which made it so people couldn't get automatic weapons. So Bonnie and Clyde had automatic weapons.
Yeah, they did.
They had Tommy guns.
Well, not just that. They had, if I'm not mistaken, didn't they have a bar at one time?
I believe they did, yeah.
For those of you playing at home, hey, Godfrey, can you go ahead and tell them what that is?
A bar is the Browning automatic rifle. It's a magazine-fed, 20-round magazine, 30-06 fully automatic rifle.
It can kill a building.
Yes.
It throws a lot of lead.
Jesse James in chat said Clyde's Model T had a top speed of 42 miles per hour.
Yeah, didn't he have it souped up? He had it souped up, didn't he?
Yeah,
Ford.
That's fast for that time.
Can you imagine being in that car going that fast?
In that car going that fast? Ford. Oh God! Imagine the spinal problems you'd have after a day.
Yeah.
No one just drank. That's just everybody did. They just drank.
Yeah, you had a Ford with a newer flathead V8, and at that time, Ford, I think, was the only one manufacturing V8 engines, so it was one of the fastest things around.
Yeah.
Wasn't fast enough, apparently.
Well,
yeah, now that's a joke,
But when they got them, it was sort of like in a little gully, and there was woods where agents could hide over here, and little bushes, like thickets that they could hide over here. And they're just, driving through tra-la-la, and they weren't expecting it. And I guess the lawmen got the tip off that they were going to be coming through. I forget exactly how they got the tip off. But, they just came through and lit them up.
Blat.
It's crazy.
Shit was crazy. I've seen a couple different, Bonnie and Clyde movies, and the way that they always portray it is pretty good. The most recent one, obviously, they had to use a bunch of CGI, so they'd show you all the ping, 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 ping. But then, you always think of fucking Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway. And then I can't see Warren Beatty without seeing Dick Tracy. Why is this my life?
I know, right? And Donna was in that movie too.
Why is this my life?
For the Discord, if anybody's interested in the pic of the Bonnie and Clyde car, I just posted it.
Yeah, that's a lot of levels.
All right, gang. Any questions? Now is the time we take your inquiries.
Man, that's a lot of holes.
That is, isn't it? Crazy.
Yeah. They were aiming
too. Like a 32, 34 Ford, something like that.
Oh, I thought you were talking about what Madison Cawthorn got kicked out for talking about. Sorry.
Okay, Kim brought up this question earlier, and it's always a good question when we talk about term limits and everything like that. One, and we'll go around the room. What would you want a term limit to be for, let's say, SCOTUS for this conversation today, because there's so much that we could do. And also, would you expand SCOTUS, and how many?
Who we going with first?
I'll go first. I thought the first when we said term limits for the Supreme Court, 20 years popped into my head. Probably just because it's a nice round number, and it's not a lifetime. It's a solid amount of time. What was the other question? I'm getting a cold, so I don't feel so good. What was the?
Oh.
And if we expanded the court, would you, and how many?
Okay. I am not for or against it. I'm against it in a way because I think it adds to too many cooks in the kitchen. But I'm also not against it because I think it should be used as if the public doesn't have trust in the system is going to collapse eventually. And people don't trust the Supreme Court. Oh, the Supreme Court doesn't even trust the Supreme Court. I think if there is an appearance of obvious bias, then maybe we should expand it. Clearly it's not working the way it is. And maybe have a different procedure than the president appointing. I'm also thinking in terms of compromise and checks and balances like the founding fathers did. So that might not be possible, but anyway, those are just my 2 cents.
For me, so I said the number earlier, and there's a specific reason I chose that number. So I said 12 years. And the reason for that is you can stagger it out. So when you pass the bill, it has to apply to all the justices that are already there. They don't just get to stay for the rest of their life, even though the others have term limits. So you say, hey, if you've been on longer than 12 years, you have 4 left, and then you're done. If you've been on between, 4 and 8 years, you have 8 left, and then you're done. If you've been on between, 8 and whatever, you have 8, and then you're done. That's how we're going to do it. So you can stagger it out, the ones that are already there, when their term is up and when they've had a fair amount of time. So yes, a lot of them will still get more than 12 years, but it makes it fair enough that you can stagger it out, and then not one president just gets to appoint all 9 when they come up. So that's why I picked that number.
Idea, yeah.
And then, the number of districts is easy, or the number of judges is easy. It's the number of districts. I say 13. It's an odd number. And I don't mind the whole too many cooks in the kitchen, because we're talking about very slow moving issues that need to be done right. So the more people we can get eyes on it, especially experts that are, high level enough to be Supreme Court judges, I think we need as many of them as we can looking at it. So that'd be my answer.
I'm going to go with the same.
I agree.
Yeah.
I do too.
I would. Go ahead, Dee.
No, I was kind of lost my train of thought there for a second, but I'm just saying it's that's pretty good number. I can't see lifetime appointment. It's just gotta go. I mean,
no, I'd say 20 years. That's a generation.
20 years max. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
20 years max, but
a lifetime appointment where you can only police yourself. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to add 4 years to Andrew's idea for the rollout.
Okay.
Because by the time you get to 16 years out from now, when we talk about presidential elections, you can't guarantee that you're going to get 8 years or 8 years out of your president, whether it's an election or not, or whether they could be reelected.
And
so by the time you talk about that far, it could be anybody.
You want to hear my take?
Go ahead.
Yeah. All right. So my take's a little different. My thought on this is that you would perhaps decentralize the Supreme Court. So basically, essentially, you dissolve the Supreme Court as we know it, but instead, because there are 13 circuits,
right?
And each circuit has an appeals court. And I don't know how many judges serve on an appeals court, so and it could be expanded, I'm sure, but if there's not enough of them, what I'd say is that it's a case where like a case by case basis. So you bring it to appeals. If it goes to the appeals in one of the circuits, and then it's still challenged after that somehow, then it goes to the other circuits, and then you basically have like a consensus among the 13 circuits. So that would get to your point, Andrew, about having 13 Supreme Court justices, one for each circuit, because that would work. But what I'm saying is that like you have your appeals court justices serving on. You either have them serving for a number of years, or it would be like a rotating case basis. Like this case goes to these justices on the appeals court, and then it's all of the appeals courts that have to rule on it.
Yeah. Or you could just have like a random set of 5 of those districts, pick 3 judge panels, and you got 15 or something like that. That would work too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these, I was looking up when we were talking about Camden, and these courts already have like 20 some odd justices or judges, and then they have senior judges. So I would think it would be judges, senior judge, and then one and a backup super senior judge, which would be the SCOTUS, and the SCOTUS would be part of that district. Does that make sense? Is that
that would work too.
Right?
Yeah.
It can be all
they just had some accountability though for the way the system is now. You would have justices retiring earlier to go make their private sector money like they used to, like I think I'm not sure if it's federal law or not, but my ex-husband told me that no federal office can make more than the president. So I think the president makes a little over $500,000 a year, which that's probably not enough to deal with the bullshit he does, but I digress. So like if you don't want justices taking money, private sector money, then you have to make it more like there has to be like consequences for shit. Like I just don't understand why these people are beyond, like why people feel that the Supreme Court justices are beyond the reach of accountability.
Exactly.
They're not they're corruptible. Anyone is corruptible.
Yeah. I mean, like I said earlier, White House might have, made the whole I suppose, for lack of better words, ethics document that they're supposed to adhere to, but instead they just told him that he can pound sand. I do like what Mama 1845 in the chat said, is just use the appeal judges, because the appeal court already does the same job as SCOTUS, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, what's SCOTUS besides just like the top appeals court? That's it. It's not they know any better than the appeals courts below them, but they act like it.
Yeah, that's
and there's so many.
I was going to say, and that's just genuinely how you know they're fucking bought and paid for, is because appeals court says one thing, appeals court says the same thing, appeals court says the same thing, and then all of a sudden it gets to them and they're like, well, I'm not sure, because, I do like going fishing. Anyway, as you were saying, Tony.
Kim brought it up in the chat. It says when SCOTUS was created, there was 9 districts for the 9 courts. Okay, fine. And they were bringing up stuff that had never been brought up before, which is normally kind of the SCOTUS's job, which I get, and I'll lean towards that for that specific idea. But at the same time, y'all are correct. Is there's nothing new now. Is fine. This case is being raised up by the people, not
the immunity case for Trump has already been brought to them. And they ruled on it. So they're helping him delay his trials too, because they shouldn't even be hearing. A normal Supreme Court would have said, no, we're not hearing this. But
That
like,
should have never made it up to the Supreme Court.
there are cases that should have never made it to the Supreme Court that get to
Dobbs.
like the
Dobbs
Supreme
is
Court.
another one.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing. But like, they're taking cases that they normally would have never taken, like, because they're supposed to answer constitutional issues, and they're not doing that. They're saying whether the law is morally good or bad, and even though they're not saying that, that's really what they're deciding upon.
Well, now we know what a Supreme Court justice costs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Too bad he didn't take John Oliver's offer.
The founding fathers, I don't think they could have thought this scenario up in their wildest dreams. Like,
No.
I if we could like resurrect them to show them the state of our affairs, they would just be like, "What the fuck is wrong with you people?
Yeah.
Like, what in flying fuck? How did this happen?"
They would be angry that black people had rights, though.
Yeah.
If you look at the
Yeah,
Constitution,
but they knew that was wrong. They knew it was wrong, and they made sure that when that changed, the document could change with it.
Yeah.
If you look
John
at the
Adams never owned
Constitution,
slaves.
A lot of them knew what was coming. I'm sorry.
Sorry, Gottfried.
Yeah, anyway, so if you look at the Constitution, there is no real power of the Supreme Court in there. It says there is one, but it doesn't really say what they do or what power that they have. The concept of judicial review was invented by the Supreme Court itself in 1803. All right, the case is called, was it Marbury versus Madison?
Marbury versus
It was Marbury versus Madison.
Yeah. Yeah, and they just made up the concept that they have the right to say what the law is. Right? So, yeah, the Founding Fathers would be appalled at the Supreme Court in general, much less the corruption of it.
Yeah.
Coming with the facts, Andrew.
I don't think MAGA would like the founding. If we could resurrect the hi baby.
Hey,
this is a biscuit. Biscuit. If we could resurrect the founding fathers, I don't think MAGA would like them as much as they think that they would.
No.
No, they were not religious.
Maybe Jefferson.
I'm gonna boil this down to something that everybody can understand, and that's MAGA are the same people that boycotted the NFL that are now buying jerseys.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Don't do that.
Yeah,
I am fully prepared
for jerseys. Yeah.
What else can you say?
To go look for these people that are just swooning over that and going back and looking just 3 months ago, February, March, April, May. 3 months
At
ago.
Target, they're
and
buying them
were
at Target
shitting
too. I bet you. I don't know that for a fact, but
Of course.
or Walmart. It doesn't matter. They still get the hate on everything.
Pride Month is coming up, so get ready for the wailing.
Yeah.
Raise yourself.
MAGA tears.
That Target pulled some of their pride shit this year because of past things.
Because of last year?
Yeah,
Also,
because Matt
for all
Walsh did his terror campaign.
For all you dumb MAGA chuds out there who are just like, how do they have a month for gay people and for pride and they don't have one for the military? They do. It's this month. You should know that.
But no.
It was last month. It's right now. How are you not paying attention?
That would mean that they can't have faux outrage. Come on.
It would mean they'd have to read fucking something.
Faux outrage is exhausting. Like, it's exhausting following it. I can't imagine actually feeling the faux outrage.
Well, especially when you shit your pants when, like, you're given a modicum of self-reflection.
Yeah.
Is there any other questions in the chat?
Oh, yeah. So we had a question come in. Shout out to the chat, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us and chilling.
Hell
everybody
yeah.
coming out.
Thank you.
And we love you. So we had a question come out. What are you drinking? So I'll start first. Some Buffalo Trace I just picked up last night.
Mm-mm.
Derek, I know you got some too. So
Yep.
Derek, you can follow up. Cheers. I'm going to pour some.
Is that Fat
drinking
Tire?
Yeah.
That's from Colorado,
Ooh, nice.
man.
Yeah, man. It's
Belgium.
really good.
Here's called Flat Tire.
Flat too.
Yes, it's good.
Or fat
Yeah, it's
tire.
pretty
I've
decent.
gotten it out here.
It's fat.
And then I was thinking,
It's fat tire, not flat. Yeah.
Fat.
Oh,
Polar.
fat tire, okay.
Yeah.
And
Polar?
Shuby, what are you having?
I had a Takati, but I only had one, and I'm out. So I got to drive to a show tonight. So I'm going to see a little rock and roll tonight.
All right.
Ooh.
So great show,
Enjoy,
everybody.
brother.
I'm going to take off.
Yeah.
Support your local
Bye, Julie.
musician.
Drive safe,
night.
my friend.
Go hit those shows, people.
Hit
those local
Support your
bars.
musicians. Support musicians.
Support local music.
See ya.
Otherwise, it's going to die. What you drinking on,
brother.
Godfrey? Take care, Shuby.
You know, I wish I could say I had some good craft beer here, but no, I just have Coors. So,
Well, that's
It's all
okay.
right.
It's
Taste the Rockies.
it's the taste as big as Colorado.
yeah. Well, I went to college real close to the Coors Brewery, so I'm used to the tasty Coors. I like.
Yeah, right up there in
The
Golden.
inventor of Coors helped found the Heritage Foundation.
I know, right?
Lovely.
And his name was Adolf.
Irony.
Yeah, and his name is Adolf, exactly. And you, Disco D?
Well, just, my regular Dr. Pepper.
I'm
Good old
having
DP.
Buscabanya rum with ginger ale. German rum. We only brew the finest. From the I believe it was BZ who said the finest sugarcane fields of Germany.
Yeah. Plantations of Bavaria.
Yes, yeah, exactly. the sprawling plantations of Bavaria, indeed.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everybody
right.
so much for hanging out with us for episode 11. 11
Yeah.
of Dive Bar of Democracy.
We've been chilling.
Just
Can't believe
remember, if you give a good goddamn about your democracy, to make sure that you tune into the Tony Michaels podcast every day. And we will see you crazy kids later.
Out of there.
Later, skaters.
Thanks for coming, everybody.
Peace.